Everyone. Kamala Harris is back for some reason. We talk about the fall of Bill Burr. Got a few previews. We talk about how gaming is just new games suck, basically. So basically, old man speak. And then we talk about how it's okay to be racist if they think the wrong thing. At least according to what's happening out there with the protesters right now. So let's get into it with Kamala Harris.
Q is turning into headquarters, and it's where you can create
ramblings. Speaking of things we don't like, we did a closing time, and I don't like, you know me, I live by a code.
Yeah, like a pirate.
It doesn't make sense, don't get me wrong. And it's horribly inconsistent. Okay. But it is a code, nonetheless. We did a closing time on Kamala Harris, and I don't want to address her again. But we have to, because yesterday, for the first time since election 2024, Kamala HQ posted this on X.
That's interesting.
Huh.
It's a terrible password.
Yeah, and you said that's interesting.
Well, that is interesting because you notice the one fake password is the babysitter is weird.
Yeah.
Is she talking about her husband having an affair with his babysitter and getting?
And that does seem like a shot at at her husband's affair with the babysitter. That one of the things that she typed for her fake password is the babysitter is weird. But what's really funny is it honestly probably wasn't malicious knowing her. It was probably just dumb irony.
Getting divorced?
Right. Yeah.
That would be a weird thing to.
It's just a weird password.
It is a weird password. I'm not sure what it's referencing, but the only thing I can think is her husband having sex with his babysitter.
Yeah. Exactly right. And I don't know if you know, but she likes the men, and she likes to be involved in affairs. She's done quite a few of those.
Mayor and higher, though. She has standards.
She's babysat, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
Meaning she was incredibly promiscuous with married men.
Yep.
No, she would have been a great model as first.
I mean, true, but
for your,
a bit of a tangent.
Daughters. Hey, do you see that, sweetheart? If you sleep with disgusting men in their harem, you too can be president of the United States. All you have to do is sleep your way to the top. Isn't it great? You can
Not
be
harem,
a whore
Harris.
and president.
Hey, it's not that.
Yo,
simple.
what's
They
going
have
on,
to have
Evil
power.
Size?
The men have to have power.
That's true. They do have
It
to
can't
have
just be
power.
any geek off the street.
So, sweetheart, make sure
Gotta be
you're
handy
a
with
whore
steel,
for
if you
the
know what I
right
mean.
person.
Earn your keep.
Yes.
That's the lesson here. Daddy loves you.
At least mayor.
And they followed it up, by the way. They
It's
followed
okay,
it up,
Tubby.
just this
I
morning
got your
with,
quote.
Real, new and improved Kamala Ramblings.
Madam Vice President.
No, the
what's
comedian.
going on with Kamala
Why is she
HQ?
dressed like the
Well,
Joker?
I'm so glad you asked. I have good news. So Kamala HQ is turning into headquarters, and it's where you can go.
Okay, I gotta pause this. Considering her laugh, she should never wear a purple suit. The Joker comparisons are right there. Unless she's doing it for me and to make me smile, which, thank you, Miss Almost President, former Vice President. I appreciate it, but purple suit and that laugh, it just screams the Joker. And by scream, I mean the way she laughs.
Online to get basically the latest of what's going on, and also to meet and revisit with some of our great courageous leaders, be they elected leaders, community leaders, civic leaders, faith leaders, young leaders. I'm really excited about it. So stay engaged, and I'll see you.
We
out
were
there.
hanging
Thank
out
you.
in a parking lot.
And just to hedge her bets, after that, she immediately proceeded to fillet Mayor Jacob Fry. And open a purple suit store, because you have to have a contingency plan.
Do, yes.
So to give us a little more insight
She
into
looks like the Joker.
this teaser, we welcome. Many people don't know this. Her father was
Just
is
imagine
Donald
her
J.
in
Harris.
whiteface.
and so we
With
welcome
big
Kamala
red
Harris's
over her
father,
lips.
Donald J. Harris, to the show.
No, I agree, Shapeshifter.
All
fuck?
right, Mr. Donald J. Harris, thank you for being here. Can you see me, hear me?
I gotta say, I've always loved stuff like this. Ever since Conan in the 90s, where he had like Clinton and Mike Tyson and all that on.
Sir.
Yeah, man, wagwan.
Okay, what are your thoughts on your daughter's potential comeback?
Come back? No, man. Me daughter's more of a come front kind of
Hey,
gal.
and by that, you mean...
Oh, hey. They don't call her downtown Willie Brown for nothing, man.
Wow, that is very on the nose.
All
I
right.
think.
Look, this part's funny, but I'm gonna skip past
according to
the quips and get straight to
Kamala
the
remains
news and
leader
such.
for, according to Rasmussen, 2028, she is at 34%.
And that's actually weird. I don't know how I feel about that. Between her and Newsom of all people, considering what they've done with California, Shapiro could be decent. Cory Booker's still in the race. Why? The guy who declares himself Spartacus. I don't know who Westmore is. AOC, at least AOC stands for something. I don't agree with a lot of it, and she does a lot of things just for clout. Of course, you remember the famous photo shoot where she pretended to cry next to a fence that she said she could see a bunch of illegals being tortured and such. What turned out to be her looking at an empty parking lot. The more you know.
Newsom is at 20%. Shapiro is at 10%. But then the Kalshi odds don't have her quite as high. Here, if you can remember that. Newsom is at 31%. Kamala is at 8%. AOC is at 8%. That's
I think
still
Newsom
just
would be
an
worse.
awful state of affairs.
It really is.
When people say, I didn't leave the Democrat Party left me, just look
Yeah,
at
hi,
that list.
right here.
Gavin Newsom, Kamala, AOC. We could toss some other people in that mix. We could toss Liz Warren in that mix. Let's toss Governor Whitmer in that mix.
Yeah.
Like, can you name me one who isn't radical? Can you name me one where you could find the daylight between their views of the world and Antifa? Genuine question.
Fetterman.
No, yeah, I would.
Yeah, but they hate him.
But they do hate him.
They hate him.
Well, you know what? I think that would shake their world if he showed up on that primary stage. Just boom, boom.
Well, I think it's funny that Fetterman and Thomas Massie are basically the same. Thomas Massie is a conservative that votes with the Democrats on a couple of key issues, and they love him for it, at least when he does vote with them. Fetterman is a Democrat that sometimes votes with Republicans on a few of the few rational issues, and they absolutely hate him. They're trying to get him out of there the very next term if they can't do it before then. I'm not going to lie. If they could find a way to get Fetterman in there, that would actually be a good race. That would be a pretty good race, and the Democrats would probably win.
The whole earth is shaking and just.
I wish he would.
They'd probably put someone they could control in the vice president spot, or I don't know, find a way to give him another stroke, whatever. And it'd be horrible for him longevity wise, but I think it would be a good race.
Task more than a Republican would probably in a debate.
Imagine that. They would be shown up by a guy in a hoodie who had a stroke.
Yes. He probably wouldn't halfway know where he was.
No.
I think he would steal votes. He would steal GOP votes.
Yeah. And
In a general election.
By being really reasonable. Like he would go,
Yeah.
look, I'm pro-choice, but I think that this policy is pretty ridiculous.
Yes, I might just like John Fetterman because he dresses like me. He wears shorts and a hoodie. Okay, I'm retarded. What do you want from me?
We're talking about kids who are like 8 months old, whatever it is. He'd be like, look, I think that I don't like Donald Trump, but I think he's done some good things for the economy, and I think it's a good thing that evil dictators are out of power. And they'd be like, what do we do here? We didn't have a plan for this. And Kamala Harris was like, I don't know what to do. I'll resort to instinct.
And then Fetterman has another stroke. That's mean. I shouldn't have done that.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry. It's going to come back to get me.
Hold on. Is there like a silver lining to this that we're missing? Like they changed Kamala HQ to headquarters. Are they trying to get rid of her?
I mean, that would
by
be cool.
removing her name from it?
I don't know.
Is that a positive thing?
I mean, I could definitely see it, but I don't think that would happen,
You're going to hear
unfortunately.
from a lot of people, not me. They're pushing me out the door.
Yeah. Well, they should be.
Hopefully.
Because
And she would laugh the whole way.
And just my
Kamala
opinion.
2028 sponsored by Captain Morgan.
Just my opinion. You guys can comment below if you think it's out of line. When I think Kamala Harris, I think drunk whore.
Vote drunk whore 2028.
That's my opinion. That is my opinion of Kamala Harris. You think it's sexist? All right, fine. Oh, you're still here, which is a miracle.
I mean, it's not that far off. Look, you can't just be those things and get to where she is, even if those things are true. It's a good way to get your foot in the door, but I mean, I'm not saying she did anything right, like correct, but she did something that made her seem valuable to the people that put her in those positions. No pun intended. But yeah, I mean, That's got to count for something, right? At the same time, God, don't let her run again.
I thought this place was going
I mean, as a comedian, it would fill me with glee. But as a citizen of the country that she wants to run, I weep.
to be like really tense. That is burger.
Comment is the overpopulation. You know someone who parroted this quite a bit.
And this one hurts me because Bill Burr has been one of my favorite comedians since I saw him for the first time on a couple of skits on the Chappelle Show back in like 02, 03. And I wasn't there for the Philly rant, but I heard about it. It was one of the first things that I happened to catch on YouTube, back in the Wild West days of YouTube, so to speak. But he's been hilarious. He's been like a voice of the everyman, whether that's just a character he plays or if that's actually his opinions coming on stage or if it's just fun for him to write. Most of the things that he put out were things of the everyman. And then he married Nia. And I think he'll pull up some clips later that'll show you kind of what I mean.
For a while with
So
Bill
we'll
Burr.
get a little into it.
Now-
With the whole cruise ships.
Yeah, like,
Put everybody in
we
the
can't,
cruise
we
ship.
can't solve this problem because no one wants to acknowledge that half of you have to like walk off into the ocean, right? That's what he would say.
Yeah, he had a whole bit about cruise ships and how people who like cruise ships should drown
Right.
in them.
Yeah, he was saying that, if we could get rid of a group of people, it would be people who would go on cruise ships. And to just sink a few more of them a year. And that was his way of getting rid of the worst kind of people. And I don't disagree. I mean, it's horrible, and I don't want to be... I don't want them to block me from future monetization, because if anything comes of this at all, any kind of monetization, they will go back and get you for something that happened 10 years ago. 2, no. Just right.
To
Because he believed in
decrease
overpopulation.
the surplus population. Yeah.
So here's the thing with a lot of these podcast bros, and I know Bill Burr isn't necessarily, but I'll sort of tie it all together. Bill Burr, at one point, the
I really like the shirt.
arguably greatest stand-up comedian walking this planet.
He's definitely up there.
With him now. And
Absolutely in my top 10, probably my all-time top 5. Up there, like I would put him up there with Chappelle, Carlin, Williams, Pryor. Like he's damn good.
And I get it. There are a lot of artists out there who, the minute they become successful, people turn on them and they say that they're a sellout. That's not always the case.
No.
You have plenty of comedians who don't do that. For example, Louis C.K., people still really like him. Shane Gillis would be an example. Of course, Nick DiPaolo. But Bill Burr, it's not that his views have adapted. It's not that in the face of new information, okay, he's moderated some views or he leans a different way. There's a very big difference between that, which is natural, which is healthy, and a complete 180 to where your perspective as an artist is completely unrecognizable. And it's exacerbated by the fact that he tries to act and convince people that he was always like this. So this is, I think, the problem that Bill Burr is facing. All the things that he's saying now could quite literally be material that he would have used in his dumb guy voice 15 years ago. And what I mean by that is he would create an antagonist voice to simply sort of straw man or to create a stereotype.
Did I get on the
Someone would say something
Jumbotron?
dumb. He's saying those things now. Here's a clip of what I'm talking about for those of you who aren't.
Okay, he's giving examples. I apologize.
That's how it goes down. It's not just some guy.
Hey, remember when he had hair?
There's Negroes in the pool. Do you approve of this? I work at the bank. Can I be fired immediately, please? I'm just saying, can you just make the shit, like, believable?
And by the way, that was a great bit. One of my favorites. Highly recommended. Now let's go to Bill Burr today. And he starts really loathing his audience. I'll explain to you why. Here he is defending his performance in Saudi Arabia when they had that comedy festival, and there was some backlash.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's just regular. They're dressed different, but they're regular. Like people just shooting the shit. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. We're saying, hey, we know we're happy to be here. And we're driving around, and then I'm just like going like, I thought this place was going to be like really tense. And I'm thinking like, is that a Starbucks? Next to a Pete's Coffee? Next to a Burger King? next to a McDonald's, next to a Pizza Hut, next to a Dunkin' Donuts, next to a Krispy Kreme, next to
found
a
the food court?
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
KFC.
I mean, this does sound like me the first time because I had never seen a food court in a mall until like 2008. Like I did not go to malls. Then I was like, ooh, all the food that I like is here when I was working at a mall.
To a Chili's?
Think of the difference. He was a guy who was never obviously right-leaning,
But if you think about what he just said, he was just like, oh, there's all these American fast food places here in Abu Dhabi. Which, by the way, Abu Dhabi sounds like something that Adam Sandler would say randomly. But he sounds a lot like, was it Rodman or Sean Penn when he would go to like socialist countries? Like he went to, I think Rodman went to North Korea. Penn went to Venezuela back in the day. But he went to quite a few of them actually. And they take him down the strip that they do to convince retarded millionaires and billionaires that this place is all right and that, you know, socialism is the way to go. I'm not saying that capitalism is flawless or anything by any stretch of the imagination, but why would you give a government you already don't and shouldn't trust complete power over everything? All of it. It doesn't make any sense on its face.
but would speak truth to power and certainly speak out against the elites. And that's what he says now. You could go back in 2008 and picture Bill Burr saying, like, look, these people write these rich comics going to fucking Saudi Arabia. Like, no one's talking about the fact they're beheading journalists. Starbucks and a Burger King. Go fuck yourself. You found the food court.
And I don't know if it was him or if it was Chappelle that said, like, when you bring up, I think it was Jamal Khashoggi was the journalist that was dragged into an embassy in another country for Saudi Arabia, murdered, his body taken out the back. Comparing that to Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air for saying things that were false on the air about people who, I think it was Charlie Kirk that when he died. Like, that's not in the same realm at all. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be an arbiter of truth, but there has to be some kind of joke form, not just Jimmy Kimmel blubbering on stage for 15 minutes for a shitty monologue. Remember when Kimmel used to be funny? Like, I really miss the whole thing he had with, like, Sarah Silverman and Matt Damon back in the day. But I don't know, man. Now he just gets on there and cries all day.
Let's do another one.
I would have liked that bit, by the
I
way.
mean, it's perfect late night entertainment, watching a grown man cry who used to have girls jumping on trampolines. I didn't like that show either, but...
That idiot Elon Musk,
Oh.
that guy, like, he's gonna, like, who evidently is a Nazi. Like, I just refuse to believe that it was an accidental two-time Sieg Heil.
Right? Like all these people protesting in the streets, white women who are as privileged. Hey, Elon Musk is gonna say everything's Hitler, like behind every room. Go fuck yourself, you privileged pussy. Right? How about this one? Where now he's in the whole mode of, you know, happy wife.
I will say, I really do think just Elon Musk is autistic. And yeah, I definitely was like, oh no, he shouldn't have done that shit. But if you look at him, like, through the whole day, his whole body was flailing about. He was doing there was a sketch in the 90s where Mike Myers was harnessed to a jungle gym, and he was try to get out of the harness just by running and jumping awkwardly like a fish. That's the kind of jumping around that Elon Musk was doing. Like, he's very spastic autistic. It's enjoyable. Like, he's like a big stupid kid who has multiple kids from multiple people. And may or may not look like a robot and or alien.
It's almost like it's antithetical to the persona of Bill Burr 15 years ago.
I get along great with my wife now. I don't die on every hill now. I just go, all right, you know, even if it makes no fucking sense to me. I just think, like, you know what? It's just gonna be an argument. I'm gonna give in, and then we're gonna do this dumb shit anyway. So why not just act like I want to do it, you know? And it keeps the peace. I slowly die inside.
His material.
Yeah, and we can definitely tell. And that's the clip I was hoping he'd pull up, because I saw that when he was on Conan. That's just sad. Look, I'm probably not the best person to give relationship advice. I mean, you know, things are good, but if you just have to shut up to make sure your relationship doesn't fail, one of you's an asshole, like an unruly, unkempt asshole. I'm just saying, you have to be able to have communication. You have to have some kind of back and forth, even if it's like playful banter, like where you just kind of make fun of each other a little bit. You know, just you have to have your things. If your things is just you disagree and you completely just drop off right there, that's not the way to go about it. Then again, I'm not the best source of any kind of this stuff, but I'm just saying, if you feel like you're dying inside every time you give in to something that you completely disagree with or don't believe in, that's not healthy for either of you. That's going to come back in huge ways later on, and you'll end up on one of those shows that most white ladies like to watch about, you know, how one person freaked out and killed their.
About not wanting to get married.
See, the whole pill thing is blue pill. The way it's used right now is more towards like government, but red pill, and the meaning gets taken aback. I'm pretty sure red pill was where you like see the reality from the Matrix. Hold on. Which pill was the one that woke you up in the Matrix? Yeah, the red pill. Yeah, the blue pill was the one where you go back to sleep, and the red pill is the one that wakes you up and you see the world as it is, which is ugly, dark, and robotic.
Was specifically to avoid.
I wish I had a joke off cuff like that.
But to be fair, I think that interview there was after his wife wrote and directed and starred in a film where she was having sex with a big black guy with a big black dick.
Yeah.
What?
Look, whoa, why don't I get married? Right, sign a contract. Dude, sign a contract so that some woman could put me in a basement apartment. I could be one of those guys. Well, happy wife, happy life. She'll be banging some black guy in a movie that she writes saying she's expressing herself.
I didn't even know that one.
That? Dude, no. Yeah, I hate my life now. I get to do whatever I want. Spend my own money. I'm sitting there. Can you take my wallet? Maybe we'll obsess with me.
I didn't know his wife was an actress.
Dude.
I just knew that she was kind of awful, and you can tell in this comedy ever since.
It's not because he's matured. He is the caricature that he hated for 15 years. YouTube's is something you're not.
I mean, he really does seem to be dead inside. But anyway, we'll continue on. We're just gonna watch a little bit of the Invincible season 4 preview. I cannot wait.
I don't get to take a night off.
I hope they spend a little more time on the animation this time, or they go back and touch it up later, kind of like they're doing with Dragon Ball Super. But either way.
If I'd actually killed Angstrom the first time, so many people would still be alive. I'll do anything to stop that from happening again.
It's not who you are, Mark. But trauma like that breaks people.
Things are changing, Mark, and not for the better. Oh, God.
We'll figure this out, okay?
We need to show the world that even after everything that happened...
Okay, just pausing for the cause of me not getting a strike again.
Guardians are still here, fighting to keep everyone...
Oh my god, that's awesome.
From what might be coming our way.
I'm sorry, Mark. We need your help.
I haven't gone in depth into the comics. I had a hold of them for a little bit at some one point, and I burned through some of them on my second deployment, and then I got a hold of some more about 6-8 years ago, and they finished since then. So I haven't finished Walking Dead either. I need to get that last compendium.
How do you feel about war? The Viltrumites will always be a threat to Earth.
But each day, we add more allies to break their hold on the galaxy. Together, we have a chance to end this war forever.
All right, and yeah, this is where Invincible gets a little bit more Marvel-y, like Marvel big epic event. I love how the kid keeps growing and keeps looking more human the older he gets.
I can help. How much does this job pay?
No tricks this time.
How do I know you're telling the truth?
You'll have to trust me.
There will be loss. There will be sacrifice.
I'm sorry.
We must all face judgment for the evils of our past.
Oh, man. There's some really good storytelling in here. There's a little bit of schlock, but there's a lot of really good storytelling here. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure Robert Kirkman hates traditional comic books because he had such a bad experience at Marvel, I think it was. But I'm still really excited about this, even though, like I said, Invincible's good enough to where you kind of forgive some of the shitty animation just so they'll fucking finish the story and not take years like these streaming services tend to do between seasons. But fuck, man, some of this takes forever.
If we want any hope to change our future.
This is serious, Shapesmith.
This is fruit punch. Would you like some?
Is everyone ready?
Yes!
And I am curious because they ended on a cliffhanger with the demon detective. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they never really revisit him after he gets banished in the comics. But they're bringing him back in this for some reason. And I love when they put these things in a new medium, especially an expanded medium to where you can go in depth as opposed to like movies. Streaming services are good for stuff like that if the show's popular enough and if that these artists can change things that they regret doing in the series. He regrets that he never really got to expand any more with that character in any of the mini comics that he did over at I can't even remember which comic book it was at. I just know it's not Marvel or DC. Image Comics. But in the same thing, he really wished like it was a cool scene. But just like in Game of Thrones, when they cut Rick's hand off in Game of Thrones, the comic, or Game of Thrones, Jesus, Walking Dead, the comic, there was a lot less you could do with that character. He learned how to use it a lot like Jaime did in Game of Thrones, but he was always less in a fight after that.
Together. That's how we win this.
And here he goes, muscle-bound Freddie Mercury. And I don't know whose voice that is, but I really hope it's like, was it Malik, whatever his name is, from who played Freddie Mercury? That would be awesome. Even though you don't see his face, it would just be awesome because everyone always calls him roided out Freddie Mercury from the comics, which is basically what he is. Okay. You know what, we're just going to mix it up. We're going to end on this very dark piece about gaming. Well, we're not going to be able to get to the White Savior. I'll probably get into it this weekend because there's a lot more stories than just this. But yeah, there's like, so I guess a black, and you have to remember, most ICE agents and most people who work border security are Hispanic. I think it's something like almost around 50%. It might be a little over, a little under, but a lot. Because people who immigrated here legally are strongly opposed to those that didn't. I mean, I'm sure some of it's jealousy because it would be nice to be able to live off the government and pretty much get a phone, a house, and all this other stuff that you hear about people getting. But at the same time, like, I know someone personally who's struggling to get their citizenship, and they really hate that a lot of this stuff is happening because it's affecting them personally. Like, they came here to get away from a lot of these elements, and a lot of these elements that they fled their country to get away from are starting to come here and do all these things you hear about on the news. There's no better source of what's actually going on than someone who immigrated legally from some of these countries. And no person is hurt more by illegal immigration than legal immigrants. And if any of these politicians actually knew or cared about that, there would actually be things done, and they would stop using these people as political pawns. It's horrible.
So many modern audience titles are failing that I can't help but be a little bit happy. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create...
No, I can't. I won't go into the specific story. Just because, you know, but it's really, really, really sad. And this person is very, very passionate about it. And I'm saying they, cause I don't even want to say the gender of the person, but yeah, or even the country of origin or anything like that. But I just don't want to put their business out there. Just know that it's really, really sad. I sat down and had a conversation with this person, and it was, I don't know. I was already kind of leaning that way as far as this whole issue goes, but again, we'll get into that probably tomorrow. But yeah, so some anti-ICE protesters called a black ICE agent a house N-word. I mean, you'll see white people calling black people on the wrong side of politics Uncle Tom's, so on and so forth. It's been a long time since I read Uncle Tom's Cabin, but you know, I'm pretty sure that term is always horrifyingly misused. But anyway, we'll continue on to this with modern audience slop failing. I saw somewhere, let me see if I saved it. People are saying that people enjoy hating on modern video games and culture and such like that more than they actually enjoy playing it. Oh, that sucks. Let me see if it's on here. We'll play a little bit of this.
Check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, for years, activists have gotten their way. They have infected these companies, they have changed lore and source material and characters and modernized games, and then their titles come out, and they were initially doing pretty good just because people didn't understand that this was a larger trend that we needed to fight against. But now that people are aware of what is happening, people are pointing out the problems with new games, and people are...
Oh, real quick, fun update from yesterday's story, I think it was, or it might have been the day before. So, Billie Eilish, she said, enough, I've heard enough of the taunts. This is in regards to her comments, and then this tribe here said that they were going to... camp on her land, or that they want, and some of them are actually pushing legal suits against Billie Eilish because of her comments, and they want her to put her money where her mouth is. And her response is, enough, I've heard enough of the taunts, leave me alone or I'll sue you. Billie Eilish angrily states in a recent interview following her controversial Grammy acceptance speech and speculation that she would return the land, her $14 million LA mansion, to the Tongva tribe. No matter what anyone says, I paid to live here. This is what I call fair weather protesters. These people don't really believe in anything. The only people that it's all for clout. Just remember a year ago, Billie Eilish was also getting a lot of heat for her saying that she liked being in Ireland because everyone looks like her. Not a bad thing to say. I mean, she is Irish. She's Eilish and Irish. But it was seen poorly from some of her viewers. And ironically, again, mostly white people. But let's continue.
Are rejecting them, it's not going so well for the lunatic lefties in the video game industry. Maybe they shouldn't have fired so many veterans. Maybe they shouldn't have fired so many passionate and talented people in this industry. And maybe they should have just, well, allowed gamers to have the content that they want. Maybe it's not a good idea to do a complete 180 with the series and push away the existing customers you already had. But that's what happened. We have seen so many failures, and well, now we're getting a new fresh look at just how bad the video game industry is doing. I've talked about most of these situations individually, but it's always good to have one big video where I'm laying out the facts, and there are some updates to games that we didn't know if they were successes or failures. So this post was absolutely...
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4. We literally waited 8 years for this game, from announcement to to them announcing that they were scrapping it and going forward with the studio, not the people, but the studio that made the first 3 games. And it came out, and it was it was something.
Absolutely hilarious, because there are so many responses pointing out how bad these companies are doing. But it says Ghost of Yotei did worse than Ghost of Tsushima. Last time we heard any sort of numbers, it was behind Ghost of Tsushima by roughly 30% at that point in time. And yes, Ghost of Yotei had a pretty small budget compared to AAA games. Now it had a $60 million budget from what we heard, and it seems that they did make that money back. But every single company has internal goals, and you are never going to know what those are. It's like with Assassin's Creed Shadows. We believe that it flopped because the last time they released a statement about the numbers was 5 million players. It went on to Ubisoft Plus. We don't know how many sales that actually is, and when you look at the Steam charts, it looked pretty bad. And so, even if these games made their budget back and then some, we don't know if they wanted double, triple, quadruple what they put into it. Something like Borderlands 4 had made hundreds of millions of dollars, and it wasn't deemed profitable. It didn't make enough money, and that's hilarious to me, because it did still make money, it just wasn't enough. Metroid Prime 4 underperformed. Now, this is one of the new updates in this video that I really wanted to talk about, because I was not a big fan of Metroid Prime 4. I did not think that it felt like Metroid Prime, and I know a lot of ex-Halo developers worked on it. It just felt like Halo 1, but in 2026 with slightly better graphics. It just felt very outdated, in my opinion. The
It really was.
world felt pretty bland and empty.
I mean, if you're a Halo fan, it's enough to be enjoyable as another piece of content, but that's literally it. It's like a bad sequel. Like to a movie. It's one of those, it's just like, oh man, it's got most of the same cast, it's most of the same things that I love from the first ones here. But then you have, like in the Mortal Kombat sequel, Mother, you're alive? Too bad, you will die. What? That's basically what it feels like to play most of these. Hearing that line, it makes you giggle, but then you're just filled with void.
I absolutely hated the bike situation. I felt like it was stupid padding and filler that
It really
I
was.
did not resonate with. And then to top all of that off, you have things like the Amiibo controversy, which didn't help. But apparently this
I didn't hear
game
about that one.
did so bad that it is not being mentioned, because Metroid Prime 4 sales numbers were not mentioned in Nintendo's financial results, and that means that it failed to sell over 1 million units on either the Switch or the Switch 2, as Nintendo counts the software for each platform separately. Combined, it could be over 1 million sales, but hearing that they couldn't seemingly sell 1 million units on a single console is terrible.
And what's really sad is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will probably be the thing that kills the Switch 2, at least until they get a killer app out there. They need a Mario or a new Zelda game. They need it to be good. They need it to at least be good as Tears of the Kingdom, preferably good as Breath of the Wild, or even Mario Odyssey, even though a lot of people hate on that one. It's decent enough. But I think it was just because we hadn't had a open world Mario game in such a long time. But yeah, no, Metroid Prime 4 was just it was just bad in all ways that you can classify.
For them, this was supposed to be a pretty big experience. It was supposed to be a pretty massive release. They expected this, I'm sure, to sell a few million copies, even if it was on the.
We're gonna
You
skip that a little
don't
bit.
hire activists. I know it's shocking, but when you hire people like this, Megan Fosty, who
She wrote the
articles
plot.
for the Mary's
Okay, look. And I'm going to say this to Nintendo. Stop giving your products to the American companies. Write those things, especially your big name ones. Now, if you've got some little shitty side thing you want to work on, fine. But don't give these over to American companies. We're retarded right now, especially our artists. Just don't do it. Especially our writers. You write it. You know what? You write it. We can design. We have a lot of people who can beautifully design things. But don't do it.
Sue, suggesting that Samus was a transgender woman, and then they tweeted their support for the idea and personal belief that Samus was a transgender. Yeah, this was always a massive red flag going back.
And that's horrible. Samus Aran, I know the game's not as huge as most other Nintendo IP, but Samus Aran just broke out down all kinds of walls, being the first technical. I mean, she was the first female character, as revealed at the end of the first game, in video games that I can think of. The first action adventure main character female, and now they're saying that she's a transgender woman. This is what the writer of the new game is saying. Look, if you want to make a game with a trans character or whatever, that's 100% fine. I don't care. I'll even play some of them if they're good games. I'll play these games, but don't change existing properties, okay? As someone from one of these groups, you should not accept hand-me-down anything. I say the same thing when they make, characters who are established as a certain race into other colors. I don't care if they were originally white, black, or Asian. If you change that, especially if that character's culture, like who that character is as a person, has to change for it, like passing it down. A few of them are done okay. Miles Morales is pretty good, especially if you've seen the Spider-Verse movies. Sam Wilson's a great character, but he wasn't a great Captain America. But like there are so many. Let's just talk about like the black characters right now. There are so many fantastic black characters in DC Comics, Marvel Comics that are not being used, okay? And this is how I know that this is all for clout. This isn't for anything substantive. Because James Gunn came and he made Guardians of the Galaxy, someone who me as a comic book fan had barely even fucking heard of, and made it a very successful franchise. So you can take some great characters like Blue Marvel is a Superman-esque character. He's got a little in common with the Sentry. And there's a very interesting story about race relations in his story already. It's fantastically done. Same with Static Shock and DC Comics. There's a lot of scrutiny as to who it actually belongs to because DC pretty much strong-armed a small black-owned comic book company, we'll say, out of the character of Static Shock. And then we got the really awesome TV show in the 90s. And he showed up in a couple of Justice League things, and he's been dead silent ever since. And then we get shitty imitations like Black Lightning and his shitty kids. But he's so good, as a matter of fact, like he's my wallpaper. Static Shock, this could be DC's Spider-Man. This could be their answer to Spider-Man. A dope character, an event that created all of these metahumans and such. It's fucking fantastic. And the best part is his guy in the chair is literally in a wheelchair. It checks all of these alleged boxes that people say that they care about, but you have a gold mine right here. If you just had good writers, people who wanted to put good stories, and they could talk about all the things they claim to want to talk about, and have nuance and have reasons behind it and everything in all of these fantastic characters. But you don't do that. You want to take other ones, and let's face it, it's mostly people who look like this that are doing these kinds of things. And it's disingenuous. It's clearly just clout chasing. It's like, when your little cousin or brother or sister or whatever wants to play the games that you're playing. You're maybe, 3-4 years older. And they want all the rules to be what they want to do. It's like, no, I won't want to do this. I want to do this. And I want to break all the stuff. And I want to That's basically what's happening here. It's basically handing your toys that you've cared about and loved for years and years and years off to some piece of shit cousin who's just going to chew them and kick them. And they're not even babies. They're like old enough to not chew on toys. But they do, because he's not an actual retard, but a retarded person. It's okay.
Back to the initial post.
Sorry, rant
He
over.
also talks about Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, and I did a recent video on this. It will be linked down below. But apparently, these games both underperformed, which is hilarious because Obsidian decided to release 3 pretty big games in a year, which was a massive problem, but yet only one of them did good, and that was Grounded 2, and that's in early access. And those numbers have already fallen off of a cliff. But when you look at Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, they just didn't appeal to...
And they really didn't. And the Outer Worlds 1 was a pretty decent game. Like, just look at this. Everything's trending down. And this isn't because people are disinterested in gaming. This is because people who are disinterested in gaming are making games now. Like, it's freaking crazy. All these people do is shit on their already installed fan base. Look, again, you can make whatever games you want, but you do not deserve big budget paydays if you have small budget ideas. I'm just saying. That's why there's these hierarchies. That's why the stronger and bigger Disney's become, the more all writing seems like shitty Disney Channel writing. You know what I mean? Like, movies feel more like CW shows and crappy Disney Channel shows from like the 90s. Like, every now and then there's a diamond in the rough. Like, Joss Whedon was pretty good, but now everyone wants to write like Joss. Even though everyone shits on Joss. Which, understandably, he's a creep, but it doesn't mean he's not a fantastic writer. But, sometimes when your parents are good writers, you become a really good writer. And sometimes when your parents are creeps, they raise you into a little creep. But, guys, I gotta run. I haven't even started getting ready yet. I gotta run and take a shower real quick. But, look, I appreciate you stopping by. This show was a little longer than I normally get to do in the mornings. Let me know what y'all think. We'll see if I can get a little bit longer format some mornings here and there. But in the meantime, I appreciate y'all for stopping by. I've been Alfie Animus here at the Barren Mind channel. I guess I should mention the segment's called Associated Guests. Eventually, I'm thinking about moving that title to something else that I've been kind of working on a little bit. It's taking a little longer than I thought just because things have been kind of chaotic. At work, at least, my personal life, it's been pretty calm. It's really nice, but work is overly chaotic. So once things calm down here or there in the next 2 to 4 weeks, you'll be seeing a lot more, or at least creativity will start brewing, and then I'm going to get back to stand-up writing and writing for a few actual segments that I've had in the pipeline that I've been talking about constantly, but you haven't seen anything on it. I promise I haven't forgotten. But thank you.